Hey, how's it going, YouTube? Lawler here, as always, and some pretty exciting news. We have officially announced the RLCS World Championship, and it's like 6 months in advance, 7 months in advance, something like that, which is the first. Usually, a lot of people have a really hard time of planning travel around the RLCS events, whether it be Majors 1, 2, or the World Championship, because they just don't have enough time to properly plan or figure out what they want to do. Some things to talk about, obviously, in today's video, based upon the history of how this one came to be, the desire, and a lot of the reasoning. And then the other side of it, kind of the business decisions that we've seen Epic take now consistently over the past 2 years. So that said, buckle up and let's dive in. So if you guys didn't see the news on Twitter, Rocket League Esports put out tomorrow's going to be a good day. And a lot of people were like, what's going on? What's the plan? And shortly after, they ended up putting out a post, probably like 5-6 hours later, a little precursor showcasing First Touch and kind of alluding to the conversation that happened. Whether this was post-produced or not, I don't know, but it's basically First Touch had an interview with Farah talking about, hey man, where do you want the LANs to be? What do you want? And he essentially states it would be cool to see this in France. You know, we've been talking about how important our fan bases are, how large our fan bases are, how much we show up. A majority of the players from Europe are from France. We even have French teams over in North America. So there is so much when it comes to the French community. There's been so many moments for French players. And it only feels like a matter of time that we have a world championship located in what is our home area. I think it got posted at like 9 a.m. in like Paris is roughly when the time was. But they were alluding to it and teeing it up. Eventually, they do put out a public post stating World Championship's going to be in France. It is going to be at the LDLC Arena, which I think was originally called the OL Arena. At least that's the ownership group, but it was purchased out, I think, in like 2021 or 2020, something like that, to expand upon and grow it into something more. And we'll go over the post, but since then, they have slowly provided more and more videos of all the teams being involved. Guys taking photos, all the local teams showcasing. So it feels like there is some interesting things about this in particular. Number one, it looks like they are reaching out and coordinating with all of the teams earlier. All of the French organizations, whether this is a part of their marketing program or not, they have coordinated pictures and postings of other places around in France, whether it be at the Eiffel Tower, whether it be in Lyon, where it's actually going to be located. A lot of things like that. The one post that everybody is seeing and talking about is this one, just because it has a lot of the, you know, rendering and animated stuff that's involved that is very Rocket League centric. So what's nice about this, and apologies if you can't hear me over the video because it is pretty loud, is that they are shooting footage preemptively and trying to do what they can when it comes to a production side of things. And sure, this doesn't live up to the hype that is Counter-Strike, where they do like an 8-minute narrated documentary about the fans and the fan bases and where they come from, which they can't do because we don't know who's going yet. It's nice to see consistent updates and conversations happening around the World Championship. It is nice to see just posts in general happening around the World Championship. They do have additional details, and we'll go over that blog post here in a second. We also do have a video from Commento, who is just talking about like, hey, you guys have you have a golden egg that you're sitting on. Please do something with it. So I think they're very excited to be able to showcase. And if you haven't seen the multiple videos that I've either retweeted or otherwise, or that have been posted on the subreddit, we're talking there's going to be a lot of fans there. A lot of fans between the Blue Wall, the Golden Hornets, the green suits if Mates ends up qualifying or not. But a lot of French big organizations that have a lot of support to showcase. If we go to the actual post, it just goes over the standard details, as you guys all know. Hey, we already know this is where it's going to be located. And I can tell you, based upon people that I have contacts, either that have already been there or not, Lyon is phenomenal. It's a beautiful place. Ton of really good food. It's like the food capital of France, people have told me. I could be wrong on that. It's just going off of what people have recommended. But from everybody I've talked to said it's a really cool area. Incredible food. Great location for our World Championship. If we take a really far step back, there was conversations of this happening last year. There was intentions for us to have a LAN, which was supposed to technically be Major 1 in France. To my knowledge, before Blast came in, that was the plans from ESL, EFG, and they were going to do Major 1 in France. 2, I think, was supposed to be in Atlanta or something like that. The 3 we weren't really sure, but we knew it was probably going to go back to Dickies. And that aligns with the intention of what Epic has been doing, where it's like, if we can get a package deal, if we can financially do this intelligently, where week 1 we're going to have Fortnite World Championship, week 2 is going to be the RLCS World Championship, why not book the arena for double the time, get an easier production flow? Goes over the details in that blog post, and we don't need to really show that. If you guys want to, by all means, I'll link it down below. But $1.2 million prize pool. There's going to be the 1v1 tournament, all the format stuff that we've already gone over. It'll be 3 days in person on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then it also talks about the other events with some FAQs. How much are tickets going to be? What do the tickets include? How many days are they good for? What is all the generic stuff? The biggest thing, though, is making sure that you go to the website for LDLC to make sure you check out security information, because it varies from venue to venue. The parking is always different. Make sure you guys go check that out. The thing that I want to focus on is what it actually looks like. What's the capacity? So I do have a video that came out a while back. This was the render of what they had for the LDLC arena. This is kind of the pitch of what they had and the intentions that they had. So obviously they wanted to upgrade the tech. They want to make sure it's state-of-the-art facility. They want to do a bunch of cool venues. They want to make it modular so we can throw concerts and this and that, and basketball and soccer and football and all that stuff. And then obviously the hospitality VIP club type atmosphere is supposed to be nice as well. So the big takeaways I get from this is that a lot of this stuff did go through. And if you can kind of see it in the title on the top, the capacity is 16,000. Now, in my experience, the largest capacity venue we've had has actually been Dickies Arena, where to my knowledge, they sold like 13,000 tickets. But because of all the ability to go around in the atrium and the places on the outside of the actual seating, it definitely felt empty at times. So my curiosity is, I haven't been able to see kind of the walkway, the entry points, or what it looks like, what kind of facilities they're going to have for like team booths or sponsorship type activations, what they're going to do in that regard. But from the sounds of it, it's a pretty well received venue. So I think, just as a blanket statement, as we take a step back, whether France is something that you want to go to or not, I do feel, and I think a lot of people share the sentiment, that this LAN in particular, just due to the environment, due to the French fans that are going to be rooting for their teams, and let's be perfectly honest with ourselves, the French kind of dominate Rocket League. There's some pretty crazy storylines coming in. If we do get to see Vitality, if we do get to see K Corp, if mates do end up qualifying and some of these French organizations are there with their fan bases, and it's easy for those fan bases to travel to, I think we could have a really cool environment that is infectious, that is the ability to showcase what Rocket League esports is about on a global attention scale, the ability to have moments that transcend just what our community is. Obviously, maybe that's some massive hopium and some copium that I'm sniffing on. But I do feel that this event has the chance to kind of put Rocket League esports in a trajectory that is at least in the conversation to take seriously. With that in mind, you do have 7 months to try this out. Hotels are going to get booked quick. So are like Airbnbs and all that kind of stuff. If you can, plan a vacation. In my opinion, anytime you go to an RLCS event, it is best, if you have the ability to not just do Rocket League. Treat it like a vacation and have Rocket League be a part of that. See the sights, do the touristy stuff, try a bunch of food, look at museums, do all the history stuff, do all the touristy stuff, and then have Rocket League be a portion of that. That is my recommendation for any LANs. Because unfortunately, as much as I love Rocket League and have been covering it for 10 years, LANs are a lot of Rocket League. It's a lot of sitting. You're talking 8 to 10 hours in a seat watching gameplay. And while, yes, that gameplay can be exciting, after a certain point, sure, it can definitely... It's nice to sprinkle in some other activities as well. That's just my recommendation. If you just want to glue yourself to the seat and watch Rocket League for 3 days straight, no power against you. Like, by all means, enjoy it for what it is. So that is what we have. World Championship has been announced. It's done well in advance, which I think is absolutely fantastic. It's good to see that. But overall, I'm curious on what you guys think. What do you guys think about the World Championship? It's in France. It's finally happening. We got it kind of stripped away from last year, but they did double down on it, and they did it for the World Championship. I'm curious if some of the limitations from what happened in the past, there's always been these conversations about labor laws and stuff with the government, about how certain prize pool percentages have to go to the French government and stuff, which made it complicated. Is there going to be a requirement of French casting in the venue? I have nothing against the French casters, but a majority of people speak English, and we have seen complications with that back in Madrid. Are we going to see French teams dominate? Or is NA, for the first time in 6 years, going to play Spoily Boy? We'll have to wait and see. Are Falcons going to do something? I think there's a lot of cool things, and we still have a very long way to go there, but at least we know what we're working towards now. That's what we love to see. More roadmap stuff, more announcements, more communication from Rocket League. Please and thank you. Either way, it's going to do it for today's video. Appreciate y'all tuning in as always. If you enjoyed the content, like, subscribe, notifications, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.